Hey, welcome. This is G with All Astrology. Pay attention for Sagittarius Ascendant, Sagittarius Risings. First thing we're going to talk about is going over a little bit of the energies of the day, a little bit of energies of the time, the cycles that we're in, the galactic center point. Now, but we had a huge conjunction. Actually, I think it was November. And we had like Jupiter touching the galactic center. The galactic center is in Sagittarius. Sagittarius, Sag's ruler is Jupiter. Jupiter is super expansive. It's about growth. It's ultimately about ascending by receiving and seeing and understanding cosmic knowledge. Now, the galactic center is known as source. It is known as the point of creation in our galaxy. It's at 27 degrees of Sagittarius. It moves super slow. If you have a planet at that point or a significant angle, like ascendant or rising, descendant or midheaven, this would be a big deal for you. I know someone where their ascendant is 27 degrees, but it's not at that point. However, their ascendant at 27 degrees is a mutable ascendant, and it exactly squares the galactic center. Well, right now, the galactic center has the sun. Our transiting current sun's location is right on the galactic center. Now, you may be thinking, well, that sounds wonderful. And it is wonderful. Typically, it's, I felt like a burst of information, optimism, because that's Jupiter, optimism. Now, if the sun squares anything in your chart, well, the sun is our light. It is our vitality. The sun gives us our strength. It's our willpower. So if the sun is squaring something, it's probably not going to be so positive. This person that mentioned this to me said, I had the worst night last night trying to sleep. I couldn't sleep for anything. It was a really rough night. And I just happened to mention, because I was doing charts, wow, the sun is actually just hitting that 27-degree mark, which, by the way, today is the 19th of December, but it's the 19th of December. And so the galactic center sitting on the sun, conjunct the sun, information coming in, which I'm loving because it's supporting this square that we have with Mercury and Neptune, which is taking away some of our logical and rational thinking side. But we have additional support here because we've got information coming through with the sun. A little bit later, as the sun moves, it's actually in a couple days, going to be touching in on Capricorn. So folks, we're going to have a mega stellium. We've got Pluto, Jupiter, we've got Saturn, we've got the sun, we've got planet Sirius, we've got the South Node. There will probably be a very short window of time where we literally will have like 8 planets in Capricorn. Capricorn is all about ascending, going higher, my goals, my aspirations, my hopes, my recognition, how I want to be recognized and acknowledged. I feel like I deserve this, but it's not so much a deserving for the sake of, well, I'm just worthy of something, but it's more of, I worked towards this. This was a goal I had, and I was diligent. And yes, Capricorn, there's no rushing it. It's very slow. It's very methodical. But having the sun in Jupiter on the galactic center brings us more knowledge right now. So pay attention to dreams and visions and information. Again, this is all optimism, very positive, the big picture, the forest, not the trees, very expansive and very much connected to information from source, getting information from out there. This is why Sagittarians typically feel like they are the teachers, because they are connected. They are getting information. Their emotional body, their mental body, their physical body, their spiritual body, their energetic makeup, what we have as a human being, being in the physical and having non-physical bodies, that combination and the grid that we came in with and the current energies and our upbringing and our genetics, like it's going to be a little bit more serious. It's going to feel a little bit more serious because Capricorn's a very serious sign. Just keep in mind, this is normal for this time, and not to take any of your feelings or your emotions too seriously, and understand this is simply a cycle that we're going through. It's like that dark time in the winter, but the solstice is coming. And when we get to that point of the solstice, like what is that, the 20th to 21st, that is literally when the light starts to grow. And that's when the sun goes into Capricorn, right? That is the shortest day of the year. But from that day on, the light begins to grow, and it's beautiful. So focus on that. So for Sagittarius Ascendant, Sagittarius Rising, this video is for you. More specifically, this will be a free reading. The way to get a free reading is by punching in your digits down below. This is all astrology. We give out each subscriber a one-time gift of a high-quality report. It is not computer generated, which includes our astrological knowledge, our wisdom, our intellect, and our intuition. It is a gift. So do yourself a favor. Get one while we're still offering them. We will hook you up. All right, let me me get to this reading. December 29th, 1957. December 29th, 1957, 5 a.m. And this says a birth location of Del Rio, Texas. Del Rio, Texas. Okay, so there's a trillion and one things to talk about when we look at a chart. However, the multiple times I've looked at your chart, the same prominent thing kept jumping out at me. And that is discussing the big event that's going to be coming up. It's going to happen. You're going to start to feel this in June of 2020. And we all go through it. Planet of surprises and shakeups and wake-ups squaring itself. It is Uranus squaring Uranus. We experience this in a way where it's kind of like that gigantic Big Ben alarm clock that goes off while you're sleeping. You can't avoid it. It's loud. It's annoying. You want to grab that thing and throw it right out the window. This is what's been coming up every time I look at your chart. I kept saying, okay, well, what else can I talk about? What else can I talk about? But all the roads led me back to this. So let me back up a little bit. Some years back, this planet Uranus was literally opposing Uranus, okay? And then time goes on and it ends up squaring it. Now, when this happened to you, it was some sort of a crisis that occurred, and it had to do with the way you think and the way you communicate and your belief systems, okay? Now, typically your thinking is progressive, is ingenious, is very original, is very outside of the box, all right? And this is a beautiful thing. At that time in your life, the main purpose of all of that happening was for you to embrace your unique individual you, okay? I'm sorry, I'm shaking the studio here. Where it happens, okay? It is a time of saying, did you do that? It's a checking up on that. Did you embrace your unique individual self? Because here comes the time in your life where it's retirement time. And many of us fixate our entire being and our belief of who we are, what we are in this world. We associate it with the work that we did, the job that we had. If you've already figured that out, if you already feel very comfortable in your skin, so to speak, if you understand your uniqueness, if you love yourself, if you accept yourself for who you are, then this time coming up in June won't be such a huge event. I do want to add a word of caution that June 2020, there's 2 eclipses that happen that month. Without me breaking it down into the eclipses, because they're important, but it still comes up with the same meaning, because I already checked through it for you. It comes back to a wound that you received, an emotional wound that you received when you were a child. You were very small. It would have been between the ages of 2 and 3 years old. I know this is crazy, right? Who the hell talks about when they were 2 and 3 years old? When they're like in their 60s now. It's stuff from so long ago. And when you have a very progressive mind, it's usually very futuristic. It doesn't normally have a tendency to ponder on the past. It's more about how can we move forward, right? What is best? How can we progress? How can I grow? There is this thing about your value system, your self-values. It's totally related to that because of this event that occurred. And this event that occurred was a surprise. It was a shock. It hurt you in the heart, literally. It's going to be important for you to heal that heart wound. It's an energetic heart wound. It's an energetic thing that happened. It's something either someone did or said. Usually this would have come from, I'm just going to say it could have been from a parent, but it was someone who was an authority figure for you. You were very young, so typically at the age of 2 to 3, well, everybody older than you is an authority figure in some way. That would be a parent, that would be a babysitter, that would be somebody who was left in charge, all right? So whoever that was in your life at that time. Now, it is in the house of siblings, so it could have been a neighbor because neighbors are also involved in this household. The energetic wound, it's dripping with individuality, which means there's something extremely unique about you, the way you think about things. And hey, let's look at our world. Not so much now, but definitely in the past. People who didn't fit into the cookie cutter were just like the odd man out. Nowadays, the youth that's coming up, they like the individual people, the people who are unique, right? That's being more embraced now than ever before. Not so much back then, okay? So this is your time, and this is important. This is so important for you to really take some of those things that you likely repressed about yourself, let them shine. Let your creativity, let your creative self come out, because this is all about fire. This is fire energy. Your Uranus is in Leo. Leo is how we express ourselves. And this is your 9th house, my beliefs, how I believe I'm allowed or how I believe I should express myself. Creative expression should literally be a degree of our light that just shines and goes right out without thought, without having to wonder, what is someone going to think? It should be something that just literally emits from us, brightly for all to enjoy. And for someone who doesn't care for it, well, they can just look the other way and walk on. But I promise there's going to be people who are going to enjoy it, who are going to see it and have a value in it. But it's important that you have a value, that you embrace it, that you accept you for your uniqueness. This is so important. This is so important in this healing process. This has everything to do with this Uranus square that's coming up for you in 2020. Now, when June 2020 comes, you're going to realize it when it happens. And it might be like, oh, that was it. This is what that person was talking about, that I got the reading. Well, that wasn't such a big deal. And you're right. But I want you to understand something. It's going to hit this a certain degree in your chart. And then Uranus is going to retrograde and go backwards a few degrees. And then it's going to come back. And it's going to happen again. And chances are the second time around, if you weren't doing what the universe wants you to do, because ultimately you're a degree of this universal expression. It is ultimately what your soul wants you to do for you. If you're not doing that, then the second time around is going to be difficult. When a planet comes up and touches on your planet, and then it backs up, it kind of is like the car that kind of drives up, crashes into somebody, sees that they drove over somebody, and then they kind of put it in reverse and they back up, and then they put it in forward and roll over them again. Right? So they literally got, the car rode over them like 3 times. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be that extreme, but I just want you to be aware of how important it is to do the self-homework, because of the fact that this literally, when this Uranus is transiting through your chart, it's entering your 6th house. And it's going to be about your belief systems, and it's going to be about your health, your vitality. The 6th house encompasses our work, encompasses our daily routines, encompasses our health, our mental health, our physical health, and how our mental health literally sets up our physical health. So if we have good mental health, right? If we love ourselves, and it's just like we have to take care of the inside. That's where our health really begins, from the inside. And what we're doing on the inside, what really exists on the inside, the outside is a byproduct of it. And that begins here. That begins in the mental health, okay? And it's tied. It's very clear in your chart. It's connected to your value systems, how I value me, how I value my individual uniqueness and beauty, and then how I can talk and communicate about that, how I can express that. And it's all tied with this wound from when you were smaller. It's not about finding out who did this to you. The part that's really important, I'm not going to take away whatever steps there need to be for a person to heal. I'm not going to say those steps aren't important. They are. But ultimately, when we find out who that person was that was involved, astrology gives me a great understanding that everybody is at a different place. We kind of all are traveling this same road, this path, we like to call it, but we're all on different parts on this path. And each of us on that same path, different parts on that path, are having different experiences and are given different tools to deal with, okay? So I grew up as a kid where there were a lot of childhood wounds. The only way I could make sense out of it all and find peace with it all was that it made me who I am today. It gives me a great understanding to help others who have wounds that they may not even be aware of. Occurrences that when they were really tiny, things happened, and there's a part of you where the shit was so bad, it's been buried so deep, you can't even pull it up. So it comes to a point in our heart where we kind of have to say, you know what? I have to learn that holding on to something, even if I can't recall it in my mind, I have to energetically understand that whatever that wound is, I have to accept the healing that's available for it, accept the universal energies coming in. And just simply, for me, expressing and doing art and being creative in some way, shape, or form, whatever that is, everybody has a different thing, your tool can be a pen or a pencil or a keyboard, right? Or a paintbrush. It could be writing, it could be words, it could be music, it could be lyrics. Everybody expresses differently. The point is, let it go. Let it flow. Let the energy inside of you come out and express in whatever way it needs to. And chances are that process itself will be healing. Now, the whole part about this Uranus squaring Uranus, it's a time when, okay, it's retirement time. Who am I? What am I? What do I do with the rest of my life? If we have health and if we're vital, if we're still, functioning, it's like, well, what do I do with my time? And so the thing is, this is that time. There will be some sort of a mini crisis that comes up, and it will challenge that. It will say to you, you thought this was what you valued, because you did value it for a long time. But guess what? This thing you valued isn't important anymore because it's no longer going to be a part of your life. And so we reorient ourselves around what it is we really value. And we have to figure that out. Each of us is unique. Yours specifically is around groups of people. And this event, when you were a child, is focused around groups of people. You know, you have Uranus, you have that sign of Aquarius in your third house, the house of my siblings. So it's groups, all right? So being involved in a group activity, doing something progressive, doing something that helps humanity, all right? This is an the sign Aquarius is an altruistic house. It's an altruistic sign. It is about advancements for the group, advancements for society, but positive advancements, and that are for all involved, the greatest good for all involved. You've heard that? That's an Aquarian saying, okay? And it's knowledge pouring through you that needs to be shared. And however it is, you can creatively do that. However it is that is natural for you, okay? And changing your belief systems around how that should or shouldn't be is key. This is all about your thinking and your communication and your belief, your philosophy on life, your religion, okay? This is what this involves. And this, if you've got that cleared up, then your physical health will receive great benefits. If that doesn't get taken care of, it's not going to add any benefit to your physical challenges that you're going to feel with a Uranus squaring Uranus, okay? I would recommend at this time, I would recommend that if you feel anything, 2020, 2021, once 2021 begins, if you feel any stirrings and you're getting concerned, if there's stresses in that left arm, anything that has to do with the heart, because your Uranus is in Leo. And this is typical for an entire generation. So don't get freaked out by this, but don't ignore hospital visits. Don't ignore appointments. Don't ignore a yearly checkup, all right? Because sometimes there's little minor heart conditions that exist. And if we take care of them, if we have our upkeep on these things, we can live a full life, all right, without any major complications. So I am asking you to take care. You have Taurus in your sixth house. Taurus is a very, very strong, stable sign that has the ability to endure a lot. So I caution you, as myself being a double Taurus, I understand what it means to endure. You kind of just, not a problem, you brush it off and you keep on going. I'm telling you right now, you don't want to do that with a Uranus square Uranus. So just make sure you're looking into that. I would feel better. Now, other than that, that's it. I hope that this helps and I would love feedback, but main thing is really do take care of your unique self and your ability to express in a super unique, creative way. All right? Happy holidays. Take care. Bye.